Hey, you. Ever feel like speaking English is, well, less like talking and more like it's some kind of mental obstacle course?
Uh-huh.
Translating in your head, the words feel just stuck, maybe a bit of nervousness creeping in.
Yeah, that sounds familiar to a lot of learners.
If it does sound familiar, you are definitely in the right place today because we're diving into something really fascinating, how you can actually train your brain to speak English automatically.
Hmm.
Imagine that feeling, English just flowing out
hmm
naturally, effortlessly. Sounds pretty amazing, right? A game changer.
It really does.
Hmm.
And look, it's not just a dream, it's genuinely achievable. Our mission in this deep dive is to explore exactly how you can get there.
Right.
We've been looking at some really practical advice out there for English learners, particularly digging into a YouTube transcript that just cuts straight to the useful strategies.
Exactly. We're skipping the theory overload and focusing on stuff you can actually do. We know you want to get the insights quickly, get the full picture, and that's what we aim to deliver. So get ready for some, aha moments as we unpack how your brain really learns languages and how you can use that knowledge to speak English more smoothly, more confidently.
So let's get right to it. Why does this whole idea of automatic speaking even matter so much?
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. Think about those times. You're mid-conversation and you just stop. You have to pause, right, to translate.
Mhm.
It really creates a barrier, doesn't it? You can miss what the other person says. The conversation kind of moves on.
Yeah, you get left behind a bit.
Exactly. Picture this. You're in a cafe. The waiter comes over, asks, "What would you like to drink?" Simple question.
Right.
But if you're stuck translating that, figuring out your order in your own language first, then building the English sentence.
hmm
By the time you manage coffee, please, they might be halfway down the counter.
That's such a perfect everyday example.
Yeah.
And the benefits of getting past that hesitation, they're huge. We're talking real fluency here. That smooth, natural way of speaking without those long, sometimes awkward pauses. It really boosts your confidence, too, because you're not constantly second-guessing yourself, worrying about mistakes.
Absolutely. And it's about getting to that point where you're thinking in English. You skip that whole translation detour.
Right, cutting out the middleman.
Think about the time it saves. Imagine you're at work, your boss asks you something unexpected. You need to respond quickly, right? Automatic speaking lets you do that without getting all tangled up.
Yeah, no mental gymnastics required.
And honestly, when English starts flowing more naturally, the whole learning thing just becomes, well, more fun. It's like uh, learning a sport. At first, you're clumsy, thinking about every move, but then you find your rhythm, and suddenly you're just playing the game, enjoying it.
Exactly that. And it's really important to stress, automatic speaking isn't about being perfect. Nobody expects flawless grammar all the time.
Right.
It's about feeling comfortable, feeling confident, and having your responses just happen naturally.
So how does the brain actually pull this off? How do we go from, struggling to string words together to having them just pop out?
Well, the amazing thing is our brain's natural talent for spotting patterns. You've got billions of neurons making connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think of them like pathways. The more you use a specific path, like saying a common phrase, the stronger and faster that path becomes. Automatic, basically. Language learning, at its core, is about finding and strengthening those patterns.
That makes a lot of sense. So why do so many adults find English hard when, kids just seem to soak it up like sponges?
Yeah, that's a really key question. If you look at how humans learn language generally, there's a big difference between how kids do it and how adults are often taught.
How so?
Kids spend a ton of time just listening, absorbing sounds, rhythms, how words fit together. They repeat things, even if it sounds a bit off at first.
Right, they're not afraid to sound silly.
Exactly. And crucially, they connect phrases to real-world meaning, not abstract grammar rules from a textbook.
Okay, yeah. Think about a baby. That first year, maybe even 18 months, it's all listening, right? Just taking it all in.
Precisely. The YouTube material we looked at mentioned a baby, Xena, responding to, "Come here." She might crawl over before she can even say the words.
Ah, okay.
That listening phase is fundamental for absorbing the basic patterns. So for you as a learner, it really underlines how important it is to just listen to loads of English, podcasts, conversations, music. Just let it wash over you and soak in the patterns.
And then comes the repeating part. You see toddlers starting to mimic sounds, then words, then little phrases. It might not be perfect, but they're working those neural pathways, right? Like learning to ride a bike, you wobble, you might fall.
That's a great analogy.
But you keep trying, and eventually your brain and body just figure it out.
Exactly. So for you, this means actually saying phrases out loud, even if it feels a bit weird talking to yourself at first.
Okay.
Focus on getting the rhythm, the intonation, and then try to use those phrases, even in simple situations.
And the last bit of that natural process, learning through meaning, not rules. Kids don't analyze verb conjugations before saying want juice.
Not at all. They just know that phrase gets them juice. They learn it in context.
Right.
Think about something like what's up. You don't break down the grammar. You just know it means how are you or what's happening.
Yeah.
So for learners, the takeaway is focus on learning phrases in context. See it in a movie, hear it in a song.
Yeah.
Notice the situation, what it means there. Try to understand English in English, without constantly translating back.
Okay, so we get the natural process. Now, what are the actual practical things we can do to kind of tap into that, to train our brains for this automatic speaking?
Right, this is where it gets really practical. There are several techniques that line up really well with how the brain naturally learns. First one, maybe the most basic, surround yourself with English.
Okay, like build your own little English bubble.
Pretty much. Listen to English podcasts, maybe even this one. Watch TV shows in English. And here's a tip. Try turning off the subtitles in your own language. Maybe use English ones, or none at all if you can manage.
Yeah, push yourself a bit.
Even changing your phone language, your social media feeds. It all adds up. That constant exposure helps.
Makes sense. Little bits everywhere. What else?
Speak out loud
Yeah.
every day. This can feel strange, I know, but it's so effective.
Like just talking to the walls?
Yeah, literally talk to yourself. Describe what you're doing. Okay, now I'm making coffee. Or narrate your plans. Another really powerful thing is repeating phrases right after you hear a native speaker say them.
Okay, so you hear it, you say it back immediately, trying to sound like them.
Exactly. Mimic the sound, the rhythm. And another big one, learn phrases, not just single words.
Can you give an example of why that helps more?
Sure, so instead of just learning the word hungry, learn the whole chunk like, I'm actually feeling pretty hungry. Maybe we should grab something.
Got it. It's like a ready-made sentence part.
Exactly. Your brain stores it as one unit, easier to pull out quickly. And finally, really engage with the English you hear. Active listening.
Active listening. So not just having it on in the background while you do dishes.
Right. It means you're actually paying attention, maybe repeating bits in your head or even out loud, trying to guess what comes next. And maybe the most important thing, especially at the start, don't obsess about mistakes.
Easier said than done sometimes.
I know, but focus on getting your meaning across. Celebrate the small wins, when you understand something new or manage to say something you couldn't before.
Okay, let's zoom in on some of those. You mentioned listen and repeat, or shadowing. How exactly does that work?
Shadowing is super direct. It trains your brain's processing speed and your mouth's muscle memory.
Right.
You listen to a short bit of audio, a sentence, maybe two, you pause it, and then instantly you repeat exactly what you heard. You try to copy everything, the intonation, pronunciation, the rhythm.
Like being their echo immediately. What's the specific benefit of doing it right away like that?
The power is that it forces your brain to process the English sounds really fast and then produce them almost at the same time. You don't have time to translate in your head.
Oh.
You're training your brain and mouth to work together automatically, kind of like a native speaker does, without thinking.
Can you give a quick example? Like if I heard something in an interview.
Sure. Say you hear someone answer, well, I love experiencing new cultures and meeting interesting people. You'd pause it, then immediately say, well, I love experiencing new cultures and meeting interesting people, trying to match their exact delivery.
Got it. Okay. Then there was think in English. That feels like a big leap for some people. How do you even start doing that?
It starts small, and it takes conscious effort at first. Just begin by noticing things around you and naming them in English, silently in your head. Nice blue sky today. That coffee smells good.
Okay, simple observations.
Yeah. Then maybe try planning your day, just short bits. Okay, first, shower. Then breakfast. You can even have little silent conversations. Imagine someone asks you, what did you do today? And you think through your answer in English.
Like mental rehearsals. What's the payoff there?
The main thing is your brain gets used to building sentences in English without translating first. Over time, thinking those thoughts becomes faster, more natural.
And you also mentioned listen, imitate, and speak. How's that different from the shadowing thing?
It's similar, but the focus here is more on speaking out loud without reading. You listen carefully to maybe a line from a show or a song. Really focus on how they say it, the tune of it, the rhythm. Then you try to imitate that sound and say the phrase or sentence out loud yourself, from memory, not reading it.
So it's more about recall and production, less about the immediate echo.
Exactly. Like you hear a character say, "Hey, how's it going?" You listen, maybe rewind it once, then try to say, "Hey, how's it going?" with the same casual feel without looking at subtitles. It gets your mouth used to making the sounds.
Makes sense. Okay, let's go back to learning phrases. Why is that so much better than just memorizing word lists?
Well, think about how we actually talk. Even in our native language, we don't build every sentence from individual bricks, right?
No, not really.
We use chunks, pre-made phrases, idioms, common expressions. When you learn a whole phrase like, "let's grab a bite to eat," your brain files it away as one complete item.
Ah, so it's easier to grab the whole chunk when you need it.
Much easier. Much faster than trying to find the word grab, then A, then bite, then to, then eat, and putting them in the right order.
Okay, give us another example. We had hungry earlier.
Okay. Instead of just learning difficult, maybe learn that was actually quite challenging, but we managed it. Or instead of happy, maybe I'm absolutely thrilled about this news.
Right, building a library of ready-to-use bits.
Exactly. You just pull them out when the situation fits without all the mental construction work.
That really clicks. And you stressed speaking every day, even alone. What are some easy ways to actually do that?
Loads of ways. Talking to yourself is genuinely useful. Describe your day out loud, your opinions on something. Reading aloud is great, too good for pronunciation practice. You could try recording yourself. Just speak for a minute on any topic, then listen back. You'll notice things. Even using speech to text on your phone. Talk in English. See if it understands you. That's practice.
So it's about activating the speaking muscles and brain circuits, even if there's no audience.
Exactly. The physical act of speaking makes it more automatic over time. And we mentioned active listening. Can you expand on why that's so important for automatic speaking?
Yeah, active listening is key because it's about really processing what you hear, not just letting it be background noise.
Right. You're consciously trying to understand, maybe mentally repeating key phrases, trying to predict what the speaker will say next, or even thinking about how you would answer if they asked you a question.
So it's much more involved than just hitting play on a podcast.
Way more involved. Say you're watching a movie, someone says, "Man, I had such a rough day." Active listening might mean you think, "Oh, I wonder why." Or you predict they might complain about their boss next.
Okay.
By engaging like that, your brain gets faster at processing English in real time. And that speed helps you respond more automatically when it's your turn to speak.
And the last technique point was reducing translation time. That's a big one for many people. How do we start weaning ourselves off translating everything?
One really good way is to start learning English definitions in English. Use an English-to-English dictionary like Merriam-Webster or Oxford Learners dictionaries online.
Instead of English to your language.
Exactly. Also, watch English stuff with English subtitles, not subtitles in your native language.
Oh.
Or no subtitles, if possible.
So you're forcing your brain to connect the English word directly to the idea, cutting out the middle step.
Precisely. The less you rely on translating, the quicker your brain gets at just understanding English as English. Eventually, it starts to bypass translation more and more, and you find yourself thinking directly in English. And like that YouTube source kept saying, training your brain for this is like training a muscle. It takes consistent work, regular effort.
Okay, wow, those are some solid techniques. But, knowing the techniques is one thing. How do we actually fit this into a busy life? Can you sketch out what a daily practice plan might actually look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Because consistency really is everything. So let's think about weaving it in. Morning time, soon as you wake up, try to think in English.
Like before coffee.
Even simple stuff. Need coffee. Or planning your first steps. Okay, shower, then get dressed. Instead of grabbing your phone for social media first thing, maybe listen to 5 minutes of an English podcast or audiobook. Try without subtitles first. Then, actually speak out loud. Maybe look in the mirror and say your plans for the day. Or quickly summarize what you just listened to. Practice a couple of those common phrases we talked about.
Okay, so starting the day with English immersion, basically. What about midday? Work? Lunch breaks?
Yep.
It gets hectic.
Totally. But you can find little pockets. Waiting for the microwave. Think in English. Walking to get lunch. Narrate what you see in your head in English. If you have a proper break, maybe listen and shadow just 1 or 2 sentences from something. If you get a chance for even a 2-minute chat with someone in English, grab it. If not, have one of those imaginary mini conversations with yourself.
Okay, using those little moments. And then the evening. How can we wrap up the day effectively?
Evening is great for slightly deeper practice. Try telling a story, maybe retell something simple you read, or just talk about your day out loud. Record it. Listen back for a minute. Watch some English TV or a movie, but actively. Repeat a cool phrase you hear. Mimic an actor's accent for fun. Try to guess what happens next. And before bed, quick mental review. What I do today. Think it in English. Maybe plan tomorrow's English practice.
And weekends, more free time, potentially.
Weekends are golden opportunities for deeper immersion. Maybe try an English-only couple of hours, or even a whole day if you're feeling brave. Everything you do, think, read, watch in English.
Wow, that's intense.
It can be. Or find an online speaking club, or schedule a chat with a language partner. The main things are keep it consistent, keep thinking in English, speak out loud, use real English, listen actively, be patient, and try to enjoy it.
That's a really practical roadmap. Lots of ideas there. But let's be real, hitting roadblocks is part of learning, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What are the common problems people run into when they're trying to get this automatic speaking going? And crucially, how can they push past them?
Yeah, great question. Because everyone hits snags. A huge one is just the fear of making mistakes. People freeze up.
That inner critic again. Don't say it, you'll sound stupid.
Exactly, that voice. The thing to really internalize is mistakes are normal. They're how you learn. Seriously, nobody gets it right first time.
Right.
Shift your focus. Are you communicating your idea? That's the goal, not perfection.
Right.
Practice where it feels safe, talking to yourself, a patient friend, a supportive group. And notice your progress. Celebrate that you tried, that you said something. Think about a toddler learning to walk. They fall down constantly.
They don't just give up.
Exactly. They just get back up. Same principle.
That's a good way to look at it. Okay, another big one. That habit of translating in your head all the time instead of just thinking in English.
Yeah. Breaking that habit takes conscious effort. Start super simple. Look at your desk, pen, laptop, mug. Say the English word directly. Use those English to English dictionaries. Try quick-fire description exercises. Look at a picture. Describe it fast in English without translating. And immerse yourself. The more English you hear and see, the more your brain builds those direct links. See a cat. Train yourself to think cat, not your word, then translate.
Pronunciation worries a lot of people too, sounding right.
Definitely. For pronunciation, listen really closely to native speakers. How do they really say things? Not just the dictionary version. Shadowing is brilliant for this.
Right, the echo technique.
Yeah. Break down tricky words. Say them slowly, syllable by syllable, then speed up. Record yourself. Compare your sound to a native speaker's. Take a word like comfortable. People say it different ways. Listen. Find one you like. Practice that.
And what if you just feel like you don't have enough words? Can't speak automatically if the words aren't there.
True. Vocabulary building is key, but learn words in context. See a new word in an article. Note the whole sentence. Try to use new words soon after you learn them, even just talking to yourself. Read and listen widely. That's your best source of new words. And practice paraphrasing. If you forget a word like fridge, don't just stop. Explain it. You know, the cold box in the kitchen where we keep the milk. That's still communication.
Good point. Okay, sometimes people have the words, but they speak really slowly, lots of hesitation. Yeah, fluency flow. To work on that, try timed speaking practice. Give yourself 30 seconds to talk about your breakfast. Start with simple sentences. Clear and simple is better than complex and stumbling.
Good.
Talk about things you know well, your hobbies, your job, and keep learning and repeating those natural phrases. Think of a cashier, cash or card. They don't think about it. It's automatic from repetition.
Right, those chunks again. What about the classic problem, I have no one to practice with?
Very common, but solvable. Speak to yourself. Use voice recorder apps. Be your own conversation partner. Find online language exchange sites loads of people want to practice. Use AI chatbots. Some are surprisingly good for basic conversation practice now. Even just standing there saying, okay, today I went to the shop, it was busy, is better than silence. True. And the final hurdle. Losing motivation. It takes time. Progress feels slow sometimes.
Keeping motivation up is crucial. Set small, achievable goals. This week, I'll learn 5 new phrases. Track your progress. Look back at how far you've come.
Right.
Make it fun. Watch that show you love. Listen to music. And crucially, remind yourself why you're doing this. What doors does English open for you? Career. Travel. Connecting with people. Keep that goal in sight. Remember, every problem has solutions. The people who succeed are the ones who just keep going even when it's tough.
That's really practical, really encouraging advice for those sticky points.
So wrapping things up here, congratulations. Just by listening to this, thinking about it, you're already on the path. You're taking steps to train your brain. Think of it like planting a seed, right?
Yeah.
It needs time, it needs regular watering. That's your consistent practice and patience.
And remember what we said, consistency beats perfection, especially early on.
Hmm?
Just make English a normal part of your day, every day. Small bits add up.
Find ways to practice that you actually enjoy. If you hate flashcards, don't use flashcards. Watch videos, talk about your hobbies, make it creative.
And please, try not to compare yourself constantly to others. Everyone's journey is different. Focus on your progress. Celebrate your small wins.
Set clear goals for yourself. What do you want to achieve next week, next month? Track it and believe you can do it. Remind yourself of all the cool things English can help you do.
You absolutely can speak English more automatically. So what's the very next thing you can do? Right now or later today?
Maybe just say one sentence out loud about your plans. Or listen to 5 minutes of something actively. Find some enjoyment in it. Remember, improvement is step by step, but it will happen if you keep at it.
Definitely. Think about it. What could speaking English more automatically unlock for you in the future? Worth pondering.
And hey, we genuinely love to hear from you. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now with your English speaking? Drop it in the comments if you can. Let's learn from each other.
Yeah, let's make it a conversation.
Ultimately, getting that effortless English flow comes down to practice, finding the fun in it, and really believing in yourself. You can absolutely do this.